Nina with Disney with the generic questions. Anthony, the first one's for you. What is the benefit of showcasing these characters in a 6-episode series versus a feature film?
Well, you get more time with them. I mean, if you look at it, a 6-hour series is like 3 movies. So you get the opportunity to get to really know the characters, really get invested in the characters, and really grow a relationship with the characters to carry forward.
What is compelling about the relationship between Sam and Bucky at this point after the movies that makes it worth exploring is that they are both sort of left with one another, essentially, and in a world that post Steve, and they've got to figure out what they have in common and what's different between them.
Sam's journey leading up to the series is him basically returning from the blip and coming home. The series picks up right after the blip. So you find these characters trying to reacclimate themselves into culture, into society, into the world that they once knew 5 years ago. And emotionally, Sam is very split. I mean, when we last saw him, he was left with his best friend telling him that he was no longer going to be Captain America and that he needed to, take on his moniker and move forward, which was the last thing Sam wanted. And then the overall idea of now having to be friends with Bucky is the icing on the cake that literally leaves him emotionally spent. Because Sam and Bucky's relationship kind of is tent-poled by Steve and both of their respect and admiration and love for him. So, he's kind of pulled in one direction and drawn in other. He's, a 50-50 split on where exactly he is as an individual post-blip as well as an Avenger.
Bucky's journey so far can be chronicled really well in the films Winter Soldier and Civil War and the Avenger. Bucky has not been healed, and he is trying his best to get ahead of his demons and finally find his place on his own, in this life.
Well, as a Black man in America, the idea of representing a country that has never stood for you, taken up for you, encouraged you, built you up, afforded you opportunity, or acknowledged what you've done since you've been here makes it very difficult to put those stars and stripes on your chest and say you're representing that country. So Sam is in a position where, how does he live with the idea of what his parents, his grandparents, his great-grandparents, his ancestors went through, and that not be changed, acknowledged, or in any way, shape, or form, any thought given by the country that he's supposed to protect and represent?
Well, Bucky's efforts to make amends are important because it means that he has to confront his actions, his past, himself, and that's the only way to move forward. And I think he's been, conveniently dodging it a little bit because there's always been a war calling him or some other effort, kind of taking him away from facing that. But now he's really in cold water, and he's got to. This is sort of the fork in the road for him. This show.
Malcolm Spellman, the writer, brought to the series a depth of a very deep level of understanding of these characters. He put us in a position where he really curated the experience for the audience, which was great. I think his life experiences, I think his background, I think his ability with exposition and not making it sound like we're telling you every beat what happens really put us in a position to do the best work that we could. I mean, he's really talented when it comes to creating a character and being able to write in the voice of that character. There were certain times when we would do a rehearsal and we would send over like these ridiculous, like bunched up notes of what we wanted the scene to be. And 2 days later, we would have a great scene in the voice of the character. So he brought a level of ability that none of us could have matched in any way.
A glimpse of what it was like to work alongside Anthony, Kari, and everyone else on the set of The Falcon and Winter Soldier. Honestly, it was a lot of fun. It was a balance of trying to not laugh, because sometimes things would happen that would have us laughing forever, and then other times, we need to get serious. And but it was a very collaborative experience, and at the end of the day, I think we were all happy with what we got.
Where is the buzz? Where is the buzz? You said was mine.